So the first thing that we're going to need in order to construct these confidence intervals is we're going to need a good point estimate. We're going to need some good estimate to start with, and then we will be able to move to the right and to the left. And that point estimate, that's a single estimation for whatever population parameter it is that we are trying to approximate. Now, in the introduction video, I talked about how the different parameters that we will do throughout the next few lessons is we're going to do the mean and we're going to do the proportion or the percentage. In this lesson, we will not be looking at proportions. We're just going to be looking at the mean, specifically the mean when we know the population standard deviation. So if we're trying to find a good point estimate, a good starting point before we wiggle out to the right and wiggle out to the left to give ourselves some grace in our estimate for the population mean, the best place to start would be with a good sample and take the mean of that sample. So the point estimate for the population mean is the sample mean. So let's find a point estimate in this example here. Example 1, we have a researcher that's collecting data about a college athletic conference and its student athletes. He randomly samples 40 student athletes. So we have 40 pieces of data here that tell us the number of hours that they spend per week on required athletic activities. We want to find a point estimate for the population mean mu. The point estimate will be the sample mean. So what we need, remember sample mean is X bar. The symbol for sample mean was X bar. What we need X bar. So I would need to add all of these numbers up and then divide by 40. So I would need to add up all of those individual X values, sum up all of those X values, and then divide by the sample size, which is 40. Sum of X over 40. Adding up all of those X values would give 842. And then I would take that 842 and divide it by 40 to give me approximately 21.1. There's a lot of different ways you could actually get that 842. You could do all these in your calculator. You could put them all into StatCrunch and get the mean. You could put them all you can just put them all in the table in your calculator and get the mean. It does not matter to me how you calculate your sample means. Most of the time I will try to have the data where you can just insert it into StatCrunch so you don't actually have to type it all in, but you will need to type it all in on the next slide because you will be now finding a point estimate for a new sample. So in the next slide, he's now going to only be sampling a few less students. Pay attention to the size of that sample because your N value will change, but you will still use the same formula to find your sample mean.